So this group of 19 educators has spent 10 months focused on growing strong teams that are changing hearts, minds, and lives. Each one has individually reflected on who he or she is as a person, who God is calling them to become more of, and where their strengths and growth opportunities are, and where their opportunities are for what we sometimes call the blind spots, and where we can spend a little more time to, as Father Luke shared with us earlier this afternoon, listen to some of the discomfort and areas where we're resisting a little bit in that growth. And so we've spent a lot of time in that self-reflection, and then we spent time as school teams, where our principals and educators came together and talked about each of their own schools and what do they see as the vision for their school, and talked about the values and where the opportunities are for their schools. Our model is in front of you, and I'm not going to spend any time on it because all of our mentors have seen this, and you've walked this journey with your educators, and as we've taken pieces of the model, and we've focused on them and where those tools and skill sets and growth opportunities are. The most important thing about the model is the center, the cross at the heart, and the three phrases from Micah 6:8. Act justly, love tenderly, walk humbly with your God. And so all of our work is to try to live those three missions out in our everyday lives. So what I'm going to do now is invite our educators to share a little bit of a reflection with you on this journey and on that path toward living each of our missions. I'm going to invite our groups to come up by school teams. And I would ask that as you listen to each of the educator talk, you hold your applause for the end of the school team, because the principal will do a little bit of a wrap up, and then we will share our enthusiasm with the entire team. Are we ready? Awesome. St. Bernard.
Thank you. So I'm Brian Ritter. I am the assistant principal at St. Bernard. This is my first year here. I'm going to introduce our team. We'll go through our presentations. I have mine at the end, but let me just introduce first Melissa Montani. She's our school counselor. Amanda Bakey, one of our two kindergarten teachers, and Amanda Thomas, one of our two administrative assistants. I wasn't prepared to say what sort of impact this program, CatholicLink, has had on our school. However, what I can say is that it has built up us as a team, and that has carried over to really much of our school. The confidence that I've seen, not only myself, but each and every one of us, grow just tremendously throughout this whole process. So I would say that has been the single biggest impact, is just the confidence in ourselves, in us as leaders, and then being able to carry that to the rest of the school. Hopefully it's good. You want to check it?
Just twist.
Good. All right.
Hi, my name is Melissa Montani. I am the school counselor at St. Bernard's School. This is my 6th year at St. Bernard's. I've been a counselor for 11 years. I would say that the main thing that I do at school is I'm an advocate for students, and I also teach kids about how their feelings, thoughts, and behaviors are all interrelated. This year I had two main goals when I started this program. The first one was to get into the classroom more and impact more students, and also respond in my life and also at school in a calmer, more thoughtful way. I would say that the key thing that helped me achieve these two goals this year was just the focus on the importance on taking smaller steps. In both of these situations, one, taking small steps to grow my faith helped me respond in a calmer, more thoughtful way with my students and my own children. And then also just setting a goal of, I told myself this year I was only going to visit K through 2, because every year I say I'm going to go K through 8, I'm going to be in every classroom, and that just wasn't happening. But just setting that small goal allowed me to modify and visit every classroom on a much more regular basis, and I'm so thankful for that. Impact on school community. Some of you know this about me, but I last year wasn't even sure if I was going to continue in education. Through the pandemic, I was feeling very disconnected to my students and to my job, and I just really wasn't sure. I wasn't finding meaning in work anymore. But what this class really did for me was it helped me really feel like I have a powerful voice, that I can impact students, teach students. I felt more connected this year more than ever. When I got my contract in my email, I signed it right away. I was sure that I would be coming back. I'm feeling joy at work again, and I'm so thankful for that. And finally, the Imprint of the Catholic Leadership Academy. Really, I learned that my job satisfaction depends on me. Like, what can I do to make my job better? I'm thankful I have a wonderful school community. I have an awesome boss. But really, it comes down to me and how I'm putting myself out there and interacting with students. So, thank you.
Hi, my name is Amanda Thomas, and I'm one of the 2 admin assistants at St. Bernard. This is my 6th year there. And I really didn't know what I was getting into when I first signed up for this. So my goal at the beginning was just to let things go. I am the type of person that was okay being behind the scenes, just kind of doing the task list, things like that, not needing recognition. But throughout this year, I've been trying to take a bigger approach to it, taking a lead on things like that, and having a more active role in projects. So the impact that this program had on me was to open myself up, taking those opportunities. And some of the things that I did was Amanda, Bakey, and I organized a Easter egg hunt for our community, just being a more active voice in our school auction, and then being part of the carnival day planning at the end of the year, which is a big full-day project for all the students and staff. So while I can't exactly pinpoint how I've changed, I do feel that I have grown. I'm more confident. I have more courage in myself, and I realize that I can be a leader.
My name is Amanda Bakey. I am one of the kindergarten teachers at St. Bernard. This is my 7th year there. And then I guess one of my big goals and things that's really important about me is that I work on building relationships with students, and then not only my students, but their families as well. And then I find it very rewarding that I get to be like that foundation with kindergarten. Everything is new for them, so I love to be that building block of learning and then helping them create that strong foundation for their education. One of my main goals, I was thinking about too, why was I chosen? I get this email in summer, and I was like, yeah, sure, this sounds fun. I get to be with some new coworkers and get to know them and build stronger bonds with them. And then I was kind of thinking about that all the way through August, and then kind of just figuring out why I was why I was sent here. And then just encouraging and growing my faith more. My biggest goal was to speak up and share my opinion and know what I have to say is important. I'm more of a quiet person during whole group, like meetings and things like that. So I just wanted to be able to speak up and share what I had to say. So I said because of, for the impact because of CatholicLink leadership, I've grown more in my faith, and then I have tried to embrace chaos professionally and personally. We did a little activity, which is the circle of stressors that we did. So just kind of keeping in mind everything that I have at school and at home. I have a toddler, so she, a little 2-year-old, and then my husband's actually in school full-time and working full-time, and then I'm actually getting my master's too. So it's just been a lot to juggle, so we're working on that. And then I've also stepped up throughout this school year. Like Amanda said, I wrote our fundraiser for Easter. We did an Easter egg hunt. I think it was about 2.5 weeks we planned that in for 100 kids. So, and then we also just got a long-term sub, and that was kind of one of the big stories that stuck out to me. She just started like maybe 2 weeks ago, and we came into our whole group prayer that we have at the beginning of the week and at the end of the week for all staff. And I introduced myself right away, just said, hi, I'm Amanda. I'm the kindergarten teacher, one of the kindergarten teachers here. And then Crystal, our principal, gave her the opportunity just to go kind of shadow different classrooms. And she came and chose my classroom first. And she just said some of the words under there, just some of the words she said. So she said, you were approachable, welcoming, and helpful. And she said I needed that stepping into a new building. So it was really great to hear that. And then the imprint is, I just said, like, make your mark, make it known, it's okay. And collaboration is huge. So our team at school, my peer coaches, and then I was able to form meaningful relationships, which was a great thing through here. Thanks.
Okay, so again, I'm Brian Ritter. I'm the assistant principal at St. Bernard. Before this, I was a middle school social studies teacher at Father Alloway, another one of the Grace schools. So about me, this has been just an awesome journey. I'm stepping into a leadership position this year. I've just started really working and thinking about my leadership. So, it's just been a wonderful opportunity. I have my leadership philosophy up there. Some of the goals that I have just is to continue to grow as an authentic leader. That's one of the first things that we learned about was authenticity, and it really resonated with me. It stuck with me. And then rooting my leadership in servant leadership and transformational leadership, and having a growth mindset. The impact that this has had on me, both personally and professionally, I've had 3 leadership venues of which to grow this year. I've had my master's degree program, which I just finished on Friday, so that's super exciting. Thank you. So that's more the theoretical approach, and I learned an awful lot from it. I've had the on-the-job training and experience being assistant principal, and thankfully had sort of those training wheels where I have my principal and I can try new things and make mistakes and learn from them. And then I've had this, which I was thinking is more of like a hybrid approach. We learn some things, more theoretical, but yet we also practice things. We put things into practice in this. So it's just been a year of leadership growth for me. And then Imprint, I say a deep dive into my personal as well as organizational purpose, mission, vision, and values. Just understanding the importance of a mission statement. I don't know about anyone else, but previous organizations, companies I've worked for, I haven't thought twice about the mission statement. It's just another thing. Every company has one, and it doesn't matter. But I think that through CatholicLink, I've really learned to value and understand the importance of that mission and vision, and understand that my personal mission needs to align with that organizational mission. So that's it. And that is our St. Bernard team.
Hi, I'm Drew Malloy. I'm the principal at St. John the Baptist. I had the privilege of being in the pilot cohort of CatholicLink Leadership Academy. And excited to introduce our 3 teachers that have gone through the program. Leaders and building, and just really excited for them. I'll make a couple comments after. Jill Bucket's a 4th grade teacher for us. Next year she'll be moving into a support role as supportive consultant. Sarah Peterson's a 2nd grade teacher. Miss Withbrow teaches 8th grade and a lot of stuff in our middle school.
So my name is Jill Bucket. Like Drew said, right now I'm a 4th grade teacher. Next year I'll be moving into a supportive consultant role, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So a question that was posed to me this year is, what makes you feel most alive? And when I was thinking about those 2 things, these are the 2 that stand out to me. So of course teaching, just making connections with my students, building relationships with them. And then the other thing that makes me feel alive is traveling. And this was from this summer. I did not climb up Pikes Peak, but drove to the top. So the picture may be misleading, but travel is another thing that makes me feel alive. So my goals this year, being kind of a mentor to new teachers in my building and communicating with them, making them feel welcome. Keeping a gratitude journal to reflect on my blessings, and then to embrace opportunities for growth, especially in the areas of conflict resolution within my team. So the impact. As was stated before, I'm moving into a new role within my school, and one of the things that I think has given me the confidence to do that is this program, just working on myself and being in that role as a leader. And now I'll be able to support students and teachers within my school. I think that has been one of the most significant impacts. And then the Imprint, in the beginning of CatholicLink, we were required to keep just a little gratitude journal, and I have continued that. I write down 3 things every day that I'm grateful for, and it's just become this daily thing. That's really powerful for me. And then the other thing is with my mentor, Mary, she's here, just our relationship has impacted me and just left such a just been able to be really a great relationship with the 2 of us. Thinking about, she comes from the business world, and I didn't really think we would have much in common, but we really do, and she's given me a lot of great advice, so I've really also loved that. So that's it.
Hi there, my name is Sarah Peterson. I teach 2nd grade at St. John the Baptist. This is my 4th year there, but my 15th year of teaching overall. I am passionate about teaching literacy, especially teaching struggling readers, so that's just what I love to do in the classroom. I have a picture of my family up there. I'm not only a teacher, but also a wife and a mother of 4. And when I think about what has led me to St. John the Baptist and to make a move to Catholic education, initially it was my 4 children. I knew that they would be at St. John the Baptist. We always anticipated sending our kids to Catholic school. And so that's really what got me to St. John's. But now when I think about the reason that I'm there, I think about as I became a mother and right after I started having children, I think many parents just, especially mothers, really want to stay home, and I just wasn't in a position to be able to do that. And so I was kind of searching for something else to do always. What else can I do? What else can I do? And it wasn't until I made the move to St. John's that I really felt like this is where I always was supposed to be. I now feel like I'm not there to be with my children. I'm there because that's where God wanted me to be, was calling me to be personally, but also for my students. So that has really made an impact on my life. My goals for this year, the first was to plan meaningful goals for my primary team. I'm the leader of the primary team at St. John's, and to just really kind of come up with some goals and have a plan for meeting those goals, sort of things that we specifically felt like we needed to work on. Also, I am a mentor to a new teacher, and so I just really wanted to be able to reach out to her each week and really connect with her personally. And then also, I'm a Hallow app lover, so just to use that for daily reflection and prayer in order to really keep my mindset in a place that's able to be servant to others. An impact, like I said, I love teaching reading. I love teaching small group reading. And I have used this Next Step Forward and guided reading as part of my daily classroom routine for probably 7 or 8 years now. But this year I really kind of initiated and planned for my team to take a close look at it. We did a book study together and watched a lot of her videos just to help be able to build confidence and empower those members of my team. And then I have a picture of Jamie there. My imprint, when I think about what really kind of stuck with me, I kind of think about the things that Jamie had taught us at the beginning, just really about, becoming a leader within your school, but not only that, like stepping out of my comfort zone to be able to engage in leadership roles in new ways, maybe outside of the school, within my church community and different things. So that's kind of where I'm looking towards now, is just to strive to pursue kind of bigger leadership roles. That's it.
Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, and my name is Abby Withbrow. As you mentioned, I teach middle school at St. John the Baptist. I've been teaching there for, I think, the last 13 years. I never really know. At some point, I kind of feel like you just kind of lose track of things. But I feel like it's about 13 years that I've been there, predominantly teaching social studies, but like you said, a couple other classes throughout. I have my goals up here. I'm not going to read them all. At the beginning, we had taken a survey that kind of gave you like your strengths and weaknesses as a leader. And so I kind of used those to help me come up with my goals. And so that's how I came up with them. Not that great, I don't think, but that's okay. Then again, I may have done this a little incorrectly. I thought it was what about the program kind of impacted us. And so I kind of took a couple of the different activities that we did and kind of the ones that meant the most to me. And then actually the activities then that I ended up doing with my students. I have an 8th grade homeroom. So it's a great group of kids to obviously do kind of leadership activities with, as they're the oldest in our schools. So one of the ones that we started out the year with here was the one-word activity, kind of like a one-word resolution, a one-word goal for our year. And so I had my kids do that, and we kind of wrote them down, and we have them hanging in our classroom, and just to kind of go through it at the end of each trimester, kind of thinking back and reflecting on it. So taking something that I learned from here and bringing it to my kids. In August, we also watched a little TED Talk by, I think his name was Drew Dudley, and the story was he gave a lollipop to a freshman in college, and it like changed her life. And the idea was that just these little everyday things that we do can make a big impact on different people. And so kind of that idea of everyday leadership. I had my kids watch that too then, and we kind of did a little activity of who would you give your lollipop to and stuff like that. So I thought that was kind of a neat activity. And I think the biggest thing that has impacted me, and we've talked about it a couple times as a group in here, has just been the relationships that I've been able to form with other people. If it's our mentor, if it's my peer mentor, if it's the other people in the program with me, I think that's really made the biggest impact on me. Then I thought Imprint was like, how am I going to take this outside of this or something like that? So what I wrote about for that is I'm going to be working with Mary and Jamie and some other people on kind of bringing these leadership traits to our students in high school and in the middle school and hopefully even in the grade school. And then also just kind of continuing to see myself as a leader at St. John's and seeing where that takes me. So that's us. Do you need this? I don't know.
I'll say one closing comment. I'm just immensely proud of how much Sarah, Jill, and Abby have grown this year. It's been incredibly obvious in their leadership on their teams and has really elevated how much I can do at school, but how much their teacher teams are able to be. Just the different ways they're approaching their team and the different ways that they're seeing how everything fits together. I'm leaving St. John's to work full-time with Grace next year as superintendent, and to know that we have such strength in our teacher ranks just gives me such peace and excitement for next steps. So great job to all three of you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Jeffrey Young. I'm the principal at Our Lady of Lourdes School. I have the distinct pleasure to introduce Hannah Aschenbrenner and Lorraine Eggert. And I can tell you, going through this program, I think all three of us have done, I know at least 2, maybe 3 things that I don't think if we were here last year, I don't think we would have done any of those things that we did. So the effect that the program had on us already has been seen. There's just countless things that I've seen them do, and even one thing that I when I did it, I'm going, wow, I can't believe I did that. So the program's been great, and I think it's grown all of us together as a team, but more the individual things that each of us has done has been great. So I think Lorraine goes first, right? Oh, yeah.
In case you can't tell, I teach kindergarten, so we have the fun, pretty stuff going on up here. In the beginning, in August, we got the email saying, hey, you've been voluntold to come on up and do this. And I was thinking, oh God, are you kidding me? Like me? Like, I don't know about that. So there's a leader in all of us. That's kind of been something that I have taken away from this, that we are all completely capable of it. So a little bit of background, that first picture is me when I was in kindergarten, and that's kind of what got me interested in becoming a kindergarten teacher in the first place. So outside of the classroom, I am a wife and a cat mom to 2. Yep, I'm a cat person. It is what it is. And then inside the classroom, like I said, I'm a kindergarten teacher. This is my 4th year at Our Lady of Lourdes, 6th year teaching kindergarten altogether. I am very passionate about helping everybody, so whether that be the students in my classroom, the parents of my students, the faculty at my school, I feel like I am a very helpful person to everybody. Generally speaking, I tend to avoid any conflict, so I'm pretty go with the flow. So when this opportunity was brought up to me, I was like, that means I'm going to have to make a rift every once in a while, and I don't know that I'm okay with doing that. But throughout the program, we got there, guys. We did. So in the beginning, we were asked to make some goals based on kind of the survey that we had and some of the things that we learned about ourselves. So one of my goals was to speak my mind more. As I mentioned before, I usually try to just go with the flow, and whatever anybody else says, sure, great, that works. So I was working on speaking my mind, knowing that my opinion is valid and it needs to be heard. And then being okay with the uncomfortable and the unknown. I think Jeff and Lorraine can attest to that. When I don't know something, I tend to freak out a little bit. So being okay with the unknown is okay, right? That's something that I had to really work on throughout this program. And then building relationships, both in the classroom, out of the classroom, all of those things. And then just showing appreciation for other people. We all know that what we do is important and it's helpful, right? But hearing from somebody else that you're doing a great job, you're good at what you do, we couldn't do it without you, is huge. So when I hear those things, I know how good it feels. So the goal of kind of practicing what I preach, right? Hearing and passing those words on to other people as well. From this program, I can be a leader. I feel like I have gotten there, right? There's still growth to be done, as with everything, but I feel like this program has given me the amazing steps to be able to do some of the leadership things that Jeff so clearly saw in me in the beginning of this program. So thanks, Jeff. You're welcome. Our school, Our Lady of Lourdes, is doing what we call Lourdes 200. So the goal of this ultimately is to start the upcoming school year with 200 students, just to increase enrollment. So a lot of the things that we have done within this program have definitely been useful and beneficial to kind of building our school community, and then building the teachers within the school to really believe that we're darn good at what we do. Who would not want to come hang out with us every day, right? Same with all of our schools. We are darn good at what we do. Then going along with that in a different sense, learning to use my voice, knowing that my opinions are valid. Everybody should be able to speak out what they think. So something that has really impacted me is knowing that I'm going to speak up, whether you guys like it or not. Hi, here's my thoughts. And then boosting staff morale. Like I said before, we all like those small little things that make us feel better, right? So if I can do that for one other person, then I think that's incredibly beneficial to the grand scheme of things. And then just taking on more responsibility within the school community and then my parish community as well. And then the Imprint things that I plan to take forward from this program, not Amanda, who was it, Abby? Abby mentioned it, right? The lollipop moments. Those are things in kindergarten. I feel like a lot of times when students think back to their schooling, they think of all the small little things that happen. And a lot of times those moments do happen in kindergarten. Things that you don't even think are important and relevant, they really stick with them. So those lollipop moments, I have also become a lot more reflective on how I've done things. So I've started to keep a journal of what has gone well and what has not gone well, so I can kind of adjust and adapt, both in the classroom and personal. And then those moments of gratitude are huge for everybody, so kind of sticking with those, because it's a real big mood booster. It certainly is. And then I forget which one of our speakers talked about it, but how to show somebody that you are listening and how to prove to them and show them that what they have to say is valid and important as well. So we learned those 4 steps of listening to them, encouraging them, repeating back what they said, and then giving them some validation on their thoughts. So I've been working really hard to do that when my peers have come to me and they've kind of had questions, comments, concerns, those types of things. I've really taken that into practice. And then our school is going to do big things. I'm very proud of us. I'm excited to take what we've done and bring it back into the whole Lord's system. Yay! Okay. Down, right? Hola! Hopefully you all understand that. My name is Lorraine Eggert, and I am a Spanish immersion teacher. I have taught Spanish immersion for 14 years. I am currently in Our Lady of Lourdes, and I am very passionate of what I do. I start the school year by having the students tell me why are they in the classroom, and kind of getting a feel of, is it your parents forcing you, or why, giving them the benefits and explaining really the reason of the benefits of learning a second language. I also tell them that I am an example of someone learning the language and being immersed into the language. I wasn't forced, but I had no choice because we moved to the United States. So I give them that example that it's not always easy, but there is a product at the end. And one of my goals is to have my students test out of Spanish 1 and go into Spanish 2 and 3 in high school. I have taken my students out of the country and travel out to Costa Rica in the past. I also have my students participate in the speech contest in Wisconsin, where they place first and second and third throughout the whole state. We've never had a student place lower than that. And I'm very passionate of what I do in our school. So here is me. That's me in that mountain when we first started this program. And that's where I thought the whole May was, because like Hannah said, Jeff asked for us to participate in this CatholicLink program, and I was like, Jeff, are you sure? And I think he knew that I wasn't going to say no, because again, I can't say no. And I said yes, and I was very hesitant. I just didn't know. I had a question mark on what all this intake, and I don't like talking in front of people as much as I expected from my children, but it's because if it was a Spanish presentation, I would be a lot better. But in English, it's just always, you get that. And I know the feeling that my students go through when I have them do presentations in the front. So yeah, the same relation. But here I am, speaking to a group of people, professional people. And so back in August, my goals were to be organized, to voice my opinions with confidence, and to not procrastinate. Yeah, that's something that you set your goals, and throughout the
trajectory of time, you realize, yeah, those I met, check. Some we're still working on. You still working on those, and there's some personal ones that I'm still working on. The faith one, reading a passage once a week, I believe I did that with my peer coach, Abby. And I said, and again, at the beginning of the program, we were told to set one faith. I can be honest with you, at the bottom it says, it did not happen. God had a different purpose with me, where instead of reading passages, in these 9 months, I was bending knees more and talking to Jesus than reading passages. Jesus was talking to me in different ways, and I really felt that connection. It wasn't my plan, but it was his plan. So that's my faith goal. The impact that this CatholicLink has had in me, my family, work, students, and community has been amazing in these 9 months. With my family, I believe that I talked to my mentor about gratitude. Not to sound self-centered or ungrateful, but I shared with my mentor that I take thank yous for granted. I say thank you to people, but I really don't show it. And it's because we live this busy life that I really want to take the time to show it, but I say it. And she was like, well, just take the time to do this, that, and voice it in a ways that they hear you. And I did that, and it completely changed others in my family. At work, there was this situation with the whole Lord's 200 situation that people feeling anxious and unsure of what this situation of the Lord's 200 was going to turn out. And God gave me through prayer the strength to go to a coworker and tell them it was going to be okay, and give them the peace of mind that they're great at what they do, and encourage them, I use my voice to have them use their voice and tell others that it's going to be okay. And that was brought up to me, and I was like, wow, did I really have that impact on this coworker? So that felt really good. In students, this year the students came up to me and were feeling a little, they were open and to tell me what are the ideas of what they can do and to better their, not better, but to feel happy and have a little bit more choices, whether it comes to their recess or ideas. And I listened to their ideas, and I took them to our principal and pretty much opened up with different options for recess, and just really hearing them out and listening to their needs. And also that was with the help of other coworkers, we were able to make that happen. So they were really happy about that change. In our community, also this year we saw, for Day of the Dead, I always make an altar at our school, and it's just there for our school and our students and families to bring pictures of our deceased and really celebrate them in Day of the Dead. Well, Father Jim saw my altar and decided that we should make that bigger, and it was a better. This was like 2 days before, and I said, I think so, and he's like, yeah, I think we should go with that. I said, do you think our community is ready for that? And he was like, well, we'll see. And I was like, okay. So I took my team of 8th graders. We decorated the parish, the front of the church with an explanation of what really meant for the culture and what really Day of the Dead means. And then he brought it up, and then at the end of October and the Day of the Dead, we had a wall full of parishioners, pictures of their loved ones and their deceased ones. So I felt like I brought into my culture into the community and made an impact that way. So that's the impact. Sorry, I'm going a little long for that, for the one that doesn't like talking in front of people. The imprint. There is always an answer to our whys, but not on our time. So again, goes back to the beginning of why am I here? But you never get that answer when you want it. It's only in God's time. And I'm enough, and I am never alone, because God is with me. So, Jeff, thank you.
Thank you. As I said, I'm Jeff Young. The picture here, a little bit about me. One of the big things I did as a parent, one of the big impressions I always told my kids is keep it simple. I mean, we do a wonderful job of making life very complicated. So some of the things I always told our kids, just, keep it simple. Do your math homework, participate in things, try new things, just keep it simple. And of course, when you're a parent, sometimes you never follow your own advice. But I think about 3 years ago now, I've decided, I have to follow my own advice. The picture came, I was visiting my daughter who was at a study abroad, and they went out before I got up, and they said, Dad, you got to come check this out. They have a store just for you. And it was Mr. Simple, because that's what they called me, Mr. Simple. So again, for me, keeping it simple, I really have 4 things to focus on. I have to focus on being a husband, I have to focus on being a father, focus on being a principal, and just being a faith-filled person. So these are all relationship-based. And if you're sleeping 8 hours and you really want to excel in all 4 of these areas, they're all relational-based, and that means you have to invest time in each of these 4 categories. So when you break it down, there's enough time there. The rest of my waking 16 hours are filled up with these categories. So again, I'm keeping it simple by just focusing on these 4 things. The goals. We started the program in the summer. Again, my goals kind of changed. When we first started, my goals were all personal goals. And then as Hannah and Lorraine have talked about Father Jim's Lord's 200, the goals kind of shifted into something that I needed to be focusing my work outside. So one of the things that we needed to do, I needed to have a growth mindset. We really needed to empower others, and we wanted to create strong teams. Completion was, you've heard one of the activities we did was one word. My one word for this year was completion. A lot of things I've done in the past, I kind of think about, deliberate on things, and they don't get completed. So that was one of my goals this year was, I need to complete tasks. We need to make a decision on these things. I need to get a team going to finish these things. So I think there's been a lot of improvement in my completion rate this year. Impact. Again, we are focusing on Lord's 200, and we are very excited that we're sitting today at an enrollment of 186, so we just have 14 to go. We've never been this high this early in the enrollment process, so and then that's due to a lot of work from a lot of people. So the impact that I've seen is the individual growth by these 2 and myself. As I mentioned earlier, there's things that we're doing that, last year we never would have done. So it's exciting to see us break out of our shells and doing things that we haven't done in the past. Part of it is a lot of the things we've been keeping on a broad level. I think one of the things that we've done through this program is starting to open up a dialogue with teachers and really getting to some of the things that we really need to get down deep in to improve our school. And that includes interactions with all other stakeholders at Lord's. So that's the impact that I'm seeing at our school. Imprint. Jamie Danon, who was a part of the program, she talked at the beginning back in August, and she mentioned something about, you're here for a reason. You're in the positions you're in for a reason. You have very difficult jobs. somebody put you in that position, and they just didn't luck into it, and you're there for a reason. And I never thought about that, and it's made me more decisive, more confident, more stronger in my beliefs, kind of echoing what Hannah says, I'm here, I'm good at my job, this is exciting. We're a great school, we're doing great things here. So I think thinking of it in that growth mindset and thinking, yes, I have talents that are that help our school, that's great to share. And it's really impacted every area of my life. I think there's internal relationships at home with my kids that they've seen a change in me as well. And that is the Lady of Lords team.
How do I not break this thing? Any clue?
Hold it up high.
Okay.
Hi there. I'm Jerry Kubuski. I'm honored to serve as the principal at Holy Family Catholic School, and I'm lucky enough to get to serve with these two wonderful ladies over here. Taylor Cotwitz is our middle school science teacher and also our IB coordinator, and Chrissy Kiefert is our 5th grade teacher and one of our most tenured teachers and teacher leaders at our school. I'll share a little bit about our school that's gone through a lot of transition in the last, I'd say, 5 to 10 years and the positive directions that we're going. But until then, I will turn things over to them.
Like Jerry said, my name's Taylor Cotwitz. This is my 3rd year teaching middle school science at Holy Family. I previously worked in scientific research and things, and then did a big 180 and went into teaching, and love it. I love teaching. I love engaging with kids. It's really allowed me to find my passion in life. At the beginning of the year, just like a lot of us, I got the email and I was like, yeah, no, this isn't for me. I'm not a leader. I do my own thing, but I kind of just stick on my path and I'll do it. And sure, I'm a yes kind of person, like whatever you need me to do. But at the beginning of the year, Jerry appointed me to be the middle school team lead. And so I was like, okay, I really wanted to find a way to strengthen this middle school team. We had a ton of turnover when I was hired. Like there was me and one other teacher that were like hired before August of the school year kind of thing. Lots of turnover, which with that you get a lot of people just kind of butting heads, trying to find their way, trying to find their position in the team. And I really just wanted to find a way to be that leader to help strengthen this team to make it the best we possibly could. The impact I got from this, I kind of broke it down into like my team, the students, and then on myself. With the team, we've really focused on increasing communication and really worked on like a strong working environment and a dynamic. We kind of are starting to work towards like goals for ourselves for our IB curriculum, and kind of just moving forward, which ended up being my one word for the year. So it kind of led into us just focusing towards the future. Then on my students, at the beginning, we did a personality kind of assessment, and going through that myself, it allowed me to really recognize my students all bring something to my classroom. They have some strength that I can tap into as a teacher. And then on myself, I am way more confident. Like I said, I'm kind of just I stick on my path and I'll go with the flow. It's whatever is going on, I'll just go with it. And this year it really allowed me to find a way to have a voice in the school, in my community, with my team, that sort of thing. Then, like I said, the Imprint, the biggest thing was my confidence. I'm a very introverted person, so to even speak up about things is a big deal for me. Then just having that confidence allowed me to increase communication, like talk to my team, be able to open discussions that we need to have to make our school a better place. And then understanding the direction of my role. Understanding like, this is where we are moving, and this is how I can encourage my team and help myself like move with this direction. And yep, that's me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Chrissy Kiefert. I am a 5th grade teacher at Holy Family School. And this is actually my 20th year in teaching and my 20th year at Holy Family. So I'm definitely very dedicated. Holy Family is my home away from home. So much so that I send my 2 children there. My daughter Allie is a 6th grader, and my son is now at Notre Dame as a freshman. And really my ultimate goal always is to build really strong connections with the students and with the families. And I feel with my tenure there that that is definitely something I've accomplished, is those positive relationships. My goals as I started off this journey was that I really wanted to work on finding that healthy balance between my personal life and my work life. I do spend many hours at school, and it's just because I'm so very passionate about what I do, but sometimes I feel like I let my home life kind of slide by the wayside, and so I want to be mom and I want to be wife to my husband, so that was definitely a priority. I also want to be able to take care of me so that I can take care of everyone else around me. And then I do want to continue being a good leader for Holy Family, being that I've been there so long and Jerry's been kind enough to put me in this role. It opened my eyes to what some leadership qualities really are versus thinking, oh, I'm kind of that quiet, shy girl that doesn't really speak her mind. So this has allowed me to open up a little bit more. The impact that I've had is just that I've learned that there's leadership qualities within me that I didn't know that I had. And also that we have to work together as a team because everybody has so much that we can bring to the table to share with one another. Something that was an imprint for me throughout this journey was this video called The Dash, which basically says, look at your life and from when you're born to when you pass away, what did you do with your life? And I wanted to make a difference. I do want to continue making a difference. So just really cherishing each and every gift that I'm given from God and making the most of that time. Don't worry, we're not going to watch it. But it's a great video if you'd like to watch it. And then I just have 2 slides here just showing some of my students here, some of the different activities that I like to do with the students. I really enjoy doing breakouts. I don't know how to use a pointer, but it's the one with the 57 minutes there, which teaches the students to really have a voice and collaborate and work together as a team. They love doing that. And just some of the other activities that we do, we went to BizTown, which was a really awesome opportunity if you've ever heard of that. It's also kind of grows leaderships within the students. But yeah, we have a good time in 5th grade. And there's my family. So again, see, did you notice that I had my school life first and then my family? So apparently I'm still working on my goal, but my family is wonderful. There they are. So thank you.
Thanks. Like I said before, I'm Jerry Kubuski. Cub like a bear, bust like you're right, and key to open the door. That's what I tell the kids. It's easy pronunciation guy there for you. This is my 17th year in education. I've been all over the place, so sometimes it's easier for a little visual representation. I'm originally from Ohio and got my teaching start there, but then I moved 14 hours away, started coaching college football up in Bemidji, Minnesota, where it gets to negative 60 degrees, which I didn't even know thermometers went that low. But after that, I taught in an inner city school called Ben Davis. I learned a lot about myself and about as a person and an educator. And then jumped over to the other side of town and started teaching at a school called Cathedral High. It was my first dabble into Catholic education, and I really grew, as not just a person and educator, but now as a leader during my time there at Cathedral. After being there, we moved up to Northeast Wisconsin. I used to call it Northern Wisconsin, but I was corrected on that. This is Northeast Wisconsin. There's a big difference. And I actually started teaching at East High School, science there, and now I serve, like I said, as the principal at Holy Family Catholic School. We are Green Bay's West Side Catholic School. We're really proud of that and our long history there. So I mentioned the 6 schools, lots of different schools, lots of different teaching. Just about taught everything in science, and I have 2 master's degrees in leadership as well. My goals were really focused on, people kind of mentioned the inventory that we took at the beginning. My goals were really focused on addressing some of the things that I wanted, not just for myself, but for my team that I learned about through that. So the first one was to teach members of my staff or team different strategies rather than just take it on myself. One of the things about me that you'll find out, and one of the reasons I think I got into leadership, is that I like to do things for people. I like to help. And I learned last year, my first year as a principal, I can't do that. There's not time for that. It's not going to work out, and it doesn't work out well. And I need to be able to support the people by teaching them how to fish, so to speak, rather than just doing it for them. So that was my first goal, just once a week, to teach someone a strategy that I know how to do, so that way they can do it for themselves. And then the second one was that we would create or solve or institute some type of policy or procedure that either was lacking or that was from previous administrations that just hadn't been addressed. But we were just kind of behind on a lot of things at Holy Family because of all the transition that they kind of referenced. And so we needed to start to take a look at some of these things and really start to address them. So we've been trying to do that, or I've been trying to do that, or our teams have been trying to do that at least once a month as we went through the school year. Impact, I'll talk a little bit about kind of just like Taylor, I'll talk personally, then about as our team here, and then as the school. It allowed me to strengthen my leadership, and more important, it allowed me to build on some of these relationships with my team, with my mentor. I have an amazing mentor. I got really lucky in this whole thing getting John Zeggers. He's amazing. If you don't know him, get a chance to shake his hand. His friendship and mentorship has meant a lot to me. But I learned that I've got people in my life that are there to support me when I need them, because I'm not necessarily a person that likes to ask for help. I like to be able to look strong and be strong and be that person. But I realized throughout this process that I need to lean on those people that are there for me. As a team, we're moving in a really positive direction right now, and I've got really positive people behind me helping to drive that change. We went through the goals and values and mission of our school, and it was funny as we went and wrote down our different things individually. As we put them together, we started to notice that they were lining up, and that the things that were important to each of us kind of individually, or that we thought for our school, matched up with what we really wanted for our school, even though we didn't do it necessarily together. So that was cool to see how that came together, and I'm excited to see how we go forward with this and get more buy-in for those things that we believe in as a leadership team. And then as a school, it's allow us to be more focused on really the direction we want to go. We really want to focus on the educational experiences that our kids get. The month of May is crazy for any school. There's all kinds of different, field trips and end-of-the-year parties and all the different stuff. But to me, that's the stuff that makes our school different or makes our schools exciting, is that we get to do lots of these types of things. Our 8th graders are going on a pilgrimage on Friday. I know it makes for a mess in the schedules. I'm sorry, teachers, for doing that to you. But this is the stuff that the kids are going to remember. And so we need to find more ways to incorporate that in what we do. And then lastly, as far as Imprint on me, I learned that it's okay to be myself. For a long time, I had this vision that principals were supposed to be this, and I never necessarily saw myself as getting to that. Like, I can't necessarily be that suit and tie wearing all the time, or like coming down on people all the time and not necessarily coaching them and supporting them. And I realized that's okay. You're allowed to be that kind of principal. You can be whatever kind of leader you want to be, as long as it's supportive of the people and it's moving, like I said, in positive directions. I'm trying to do better at leadership versus management. When I started last year, especially in the midst of COVID, a lot of the things that we were doing were just about managing, just about getting through the day. And now that we're getting some things in place, some of those goals that I mentioned before, I'm really excited to start to move towards leadership and be able to distribute some of that leadership amongst my team. And then that goes to that last point about staff development. The professional development stuff that we need to do for like IB and guided reading and all those types of things, but also in that leadership. I'm excited to take some of these things back and have our staff start to go through them to create that flywheel effect where this all just kind of builds on itself. So as far as our school goes, and I'll go back real quick. As far as the school goes, like I said, there's lots of really good things happening. We have an amazing team. Our school is growing immensely right now. We're really excited about some of the things that are happening. We have a very old building, and we have to serve a lot of parishes. A lot of people look at those as challenges. We keep looking for those opportunities. What are the ways that we can take those things that are challenging to us, that are only applicable to us, and make them something that puts us in a positive spin, or puts us in a direction that we can take things to go in a good direction with it. So I'm excited to have these people go on that journey with me and take our school to that next level. So that's Holy Family. Thank you. I held the whole thing. I think that's your best shot.
And we are Notre Dame Academy. I'm Greg Masarek. I'm the associate principal there, and it is my pleasure to introduce our team. When our team joined the CatholicLink leadership program, we were tasked with beginning the process of developing a comprehensive leadership program for our students, and so that's been a project that our team has taken on while we've done our own personal growth throughout. And so I'm pleased to introduce Mrs. Gina Frederick and Ms. Andrea Hardin, and they'll continue with their parts of it.
Hello, I am Gina Frederick. A little bit about me. I am in my 18th year at Notre Dame Academy. I am the person who asks the question, have you rebooted your computer yet? Before all other questions, I'm the technology director. I'm a wife, and I have 2 children, 2 daughters at St. Bernard in the Grace system. We found a new love for hiking recently and going to the mountains. And we also have 2 Chihuahuas, one of which loves the nature and one that does not. So you can tell by the slide which is which. Recurring theme tonight is confidence. Confidence was my one word for the year and something I really wanted to work on. I wanted to be more visible in meetings, both physically meaning being asked to be on committees, and verbally by actually sharing my opinion. I said I was here for 18 years, so sometimes I revert back to a 23, 24-year-old, but I'm building the confidence to know that I am a 42-year-old and that I can share what my thoughts are. The impact from this academy on me are the tools that that were instilled in us. My picture represents a guided meditation that Father Luke Ferris did for us, bringing down the noise in your life, going down a hallway into a room and having a personal conversation with the Lord. So I use that a lot. I'm somebody with anxiety, so I use that a lot to really step back from work and step back from the noise and just have a spiritual meditation. Paul Waddell was my mentor, and we had a great conversation. I was very apprehensive about having a business mentor, especially when we were told that day that my mentor was the person who just was our guest speaker for the day. So it was very intimidating to me. Our first meeting, I found out that he was as nervous as I was. So that worked out pretty well. But we had great conversation, and I know that his wife Carmela and himself are always in my prayers from this moment on, and that my family is in theirs. The imprint going forward, well, I could go, I guess. From me, it kind of moves into imprint. So my imprint, I found that a younger employee has been coming to me kind of seeing me as a mentor, which is a very much a compliment. Even earlier today, I received a phone call from her. So I enjoy kind of mentoring her moving forward in her career. I'm a student government advisor and have been for several years, but you'll see some of our students doing good work and service opportunities. And then I've been part of a new AV productions class at Notre Dame, which is brand new for us, and I'm kind of helping build that. So now we have Andrea Hardin.
I want to break it.
I know.
Hello. I guess I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself, that I'm a little bit more than just an educator. I think God has called me to 2 great vocations in life, and the first one is being a mom. One of my great joys is finding out that your family continues to grow even at this stage in life. I now have a son-in-law and a daughter-in-law, and my family will be growing even a little bit more this year because I'm going to add grandma to my title as I have a grandchild in the fall, so I'm excited about that. My other great vocation, I believe, in life has been to be a Catholic educator. I'm both a science and a theater educator. That's kind of a strange combination, I know. But at Notre Dame Academy, I have the most wonderful students. It is such a joy to learn about them and build relationships with them every year. I absolutely enjoy my time with them, and it's been very valuable to me. I also, however, am a theater educator. I don't do that at Notre Dame Academy anymore, but there's a wonderful program at St. Norbert College for high school students called Next Stage, and I have great students there from all over Northeast Wisconsin. I usually work with students from about 20 different high schools doing that, so that's been a great opportunity for me also. When we came in and set goals, I thought, I've been a teacher for a long time. And so I know who I am in the classroom. I have a really well-defined teaching philosophy. I believe in teaching my students about excellence and giving them the tools that they need to achieve that excellence. And so I thought, well, how do I look at that in terms of the adults in the building and becoming a different kind of leader? So in short, my goal was to be a positive influence for excellence among my peers. CatholicLink has just done a wonderful thing for me. It's really impacted me by giving me the time and the space to think about leadership differently and to think about myself differently. It has shed a new light on the gifts that God has given me and helped me to think about that differently. Through so many different ideas and suggestions and encouragement and challenges, it has helped me and empowered me to step up after 31 years at Notre Dame Academy and say yes to being our interim principal next year. So that I would say I wouldn't have said yes to that if it hadn't been for this program this year. I would say that the program has imprinted so many wonderful things into my toolbox. Great ideas to use with my students and with my fellow teachers. One of the things that we talked about was a form of evaluation where you write 3 words that describe a person on one side and 1 word that you wish described them on the other side. So I thought this year with my students moving into a new kind of job, I would ask my students to do that for me. So this is a word cloud of the very many words that they use to describe me. Excellent vocabulary. I was very proud of them for that. So it is from my students, and it was just words that describe me from something that we learned here. But I would say that the greatest impact is that I see leadership differently after CatholicLink. I see that leadership is for everybody. Leadership isn't just for a certain type of person or a certain type of job. It's for our students in the classroom. It's for our peers, our people that we teach with. It's for our students in their faith life. It's for students in their academic life, their athletic life, and also in their home life everywhere. So I was very excited about the new program that we're starting at our school and bringing leadership to everybody. And Greg Masaryk.
Thank you, Andrea. And so I'm blessed to be completing my 14th year as associate principal at Notre Dame Academy. And I think probably the best way to sum up what I try to do in my role as associate principal is partner with parents, faculty, and staff to help guide virtuous young men and women on their path to sainthood. And sometimes that path takes some winding turns and so forth. That comes with the nature of the business. But it's what I've been blessed to be able to do and look forward to continuing to do at our school. And so when Tom had asked me if I wanted to be a part of the program, I was really excited for the opportunity. And as we've talked about journeying between Journey Map and so forth, you're probably wondering, why is there a pair of really worn shoes up there? Well, this goes back almost 20 years ago when I began in earnest on the journey to school leadership. And that began in my very first class of my master's degree, Introduction to Educational Leadership. We're blessed that our instructor had over 20 years of high school principal experience. And at one point, it stuck with me. He put a picture of some worn shoes up on the screen. He said, at some point, when you do this long enough, there'll be days where you feel like you're a worn pair of shoes. And after 14 years of doing it, I can attest, there are days like that. And so I went into this process with a few goals. One of them was to build relationships with our internal team. Oftentimes in my job, it's day to day. You kind of go in and deal with an issue, and you go out and you go do the next one. And so you work your way around the school with different people, but you never really get a chance to get to know them. And so this was an opportunity for that. The second one is connections. My job is mostly internal, so I don't have the opportunity to get out all the time, and so it was a blessing to get out and meet other Catholic educators as we went forward. The third one, reflection. As we do this, as you do the same thing for a while, it's important to step back and reflect and discern. Is what you believe to be true? Has all that other professional development I've done, how does that play out? And so, especially coming out of COVID, I felt it was important to kind of take that step back. So this gave me that opportunity, and God willing, it would be a renewing experience. And so impact on me specifically, one of them was you realize over time you have less and less control. And so to allow the Holy Spirit to work, but also follow the promptings. And part of my daily prayer each morning is to say, Lord, help me to do your will, nothing more and nothing less, and please show me the way. Well, that's really easy to say, but not easy to do. And so I realized through this process that what did I probably need was to find a spiritual director, if there was one available, that would fit with me and have that happen and then develop that patience. And so I'm blessed to say that I have, through this year, been able to find that and be able to mix together that personal and professional life. How does that impact on others? I think it's really important that we listen, and that was one of the things we've emphasized over and over again. And recently, a friend just reminded me of that last week. And so obviously the Holy Spirit was working there and keeping that reminder up. But to observe, gather information, process that information, and then act courageously. As leaders, it's easy for us to fall into that idea of paralysis by analysis and then not make a decision. And so this was that process that came about. And what ended up happening was I was giving up more control where prudent, particularly to my admin assistant, as well as providing support to other people who, when they make their decisions, if I could live with what they were going to decide, live with it, and then support them. And so the imprint for the journey, so one of them was to listen actively, seek clarity, and be not afraid. And part of that renewal for me, you see here is a pair of shoes that's not exactly new, but much just gently used. And so I was renewed through this process and have those days of it. And one of the things that we talk about journeys, and one of the greatest journeys that I know about is the Lord of the Rings journey. If you're familiar with it, the saying up there will make sense. If you're not, briefly, basically, it's a 1,000-page book where two hobbits go on a journey to take a ring, to get it destroyed. That's Frodo's job. But along the way, his faithful friend Samwise Gamgee, another hobbit, at one of the darkest moments of the book, basically says, there's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for. And I think what we do in Catholic education is continue to work through the challenges of the world in that darkness and fight for what is good. So, thank you. We have the Roncalli Catholic Schools.
Hello, my name is Adrienne Lundy, and I am the principal at Roncalli Catholic Elementary School in Manitowoc. Our team looks a little different here at CatholicLink, as it is simply a makeup of our 3 building level principals, and we hope to bring a lot of these tools and the toolbox in which that we've all formulated back to our school communities to do the awesome work of what Catholic schools should do. This is my second year as a principal. I share Jerry's journey of last year, first year, starting in the COVID world. And I too feel a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more at ease in trying to start moving some of these initiatives forward within our school. So as we begin, my professional goals are very similar to many of yours as well. And starting this CatholicLink series, taking that survey, and everybody's talked about that survey, or I shouldn't say survey, but personal growth tool, and using that to really sort of drive some of my change and some of who I am. So you'll see here, and I know that you're all educated individuals, so I don't think you need me to read them verbatim, but just being mindful of my emotions, that emotions happen for a reason. It's because you're passionate. And I think I always thought that was a fault of mine, but recognizing that's not a fault. That's a true attribute, a true positive, and just being able to corral those emotions and move them in a positive direction. I'm a doer, and I like to take on projects. I really do. In fact, some of my closest colleagues even say, slow down and, take your time. But my word for this year, as everyone has said as well, is completer. I want to be a completer. I want to do good things, and I want to do them, for my staff as well as the students and the families within our school. And part of that comes with a passion to work and that drive to work. So I made a commitment to my families this year that I would promise to find a better work-life balance. Some days that works and some days that doesn't work, but I know my children appreciate that, as well as my husband, when I'm coming home earlier at night and maybe leaving those emotions at work that should be left at work. The impact of CatholicLink, I've already talked about the first topic, but looking at those opportunities for strength, or my strengths and those opportunities for growth personally, I think were huge for me. It was very eye-opening. I know how I am, but to see that actually on paper really brought an awakening to myself, so that I could make and to use those talents. At first I saw some of those, that evaluation as a critique, but using those as a positive and, using those skills to help others grow. And more importantly, all of this has sort of kind of identified and clarified my role within Roncalli Catholic Schools, but also within being a Catholic educator. And I come from a long line of public education, 20 years in public education, so making that bridge, it's different. And I needed to find my identity in it, and it's a great place to be. So with that, also recognizing that I'm a role model and mentor for a lot of people, whether that be my students or the students within our school, our families, the greater church community, whatever it be. So using that and being able to reflect on what that truly means to be that Catholic leader. Imprint to CatholicLink Academy, it has impacted my prayer life immensely. Being that reflective, offering it up, trying to take the guidance from God and using that guidance of the Holy Spirit to guide some of those decisions that are important to me. Thank you to everyone who has been a part of this, all of the colleagues that are sitting here, because I think that collegial support and getting to know people outside of the four walls of my building are huge. And CatholicLink has also helped me to better bridge that idea of empathy and support and really truly look at my colleagues as, or I should say, provide support for them, families and things like that. So I'm going to hand it off to Fran Peter.
I'm Fran Peter. I'm the principal of Roncalli High School, also in Manitowoc. And before I am a principal, I always say this to my students and to my when they're in my office. I'm a wife and a mother. I've been married to my husband James for almost 30 years. I think we have the three best kids. I don't care what you think about your kids. I think we have the three best kids. Hans, who just graduated over a year ago from Benedictine and is working in Missouri, something import specialist. And my daughter Kate, who is a CNA, and our daughter Maxine, who is almost done with her first year at North Dakota State. So before I am anything, before I am an educator, I am a wife and a mother, and I really use those experiences to inform what I do every day. As I reflected on this year, I think every year, I still remember years and years and years ago, Father Van Beeken saying at church that a year from now, your faith should be, you should have a deeper relationship, a closer relationship with God. So every year, am I there? And usually around Easter time is when I have that reflection. So that continued opportunities to grow my faith and my relationship with God. And I have to say, I have to give a shout out to Father Luke right here. He's my mentor. And this has been an unexpected gift to have the opportunity to work with him and to hang out with him and talk with him and just chat. And it's just been amazing and a tremendous help for my faith journey. I am so grateful. And that was my word this year, is gratitude. I'm so grateful for resources. And actually, my word is grace. Gratitude was number 2. But I'm so grateful for my resources, the networking, and the ability to share my ideas and thoughts with other professionals. Brian is my peer coach. And, of course, Adrian and Steve. Just being able to be kinder to myself and give others grace. I think that's so important. And the partnerships that I've developed with other people. My goals, I always have the big goals for our school, but my most important goal every single year is to help our students and their families grow in their faith and relationship with God. And I know that starts with me. I know that how I talk about God and model my relationship with God and my faith, and let the kids know what I'm going through. I think that's important. So modeling and then encouraging my teachers to do the same. And I really want our kids walking out of that school prepared for the world of work or for college or for the military. And there's different ways that we do that. And I think the biggest thing is communication. I can't talk enough to people. One of the things I'm learning, I've learned as an administrator and through this process is you just involve as many people as you can and get their thoughts and their opinions. And then I think my impact, based on what I'm learning here, I think it's important to be positive. I think I'm a pretty positive person in the first place, but I get down like anyone else. But how I feel inside, I bet even if I'm having a bad day, I need to be the smile. I need to set that positive tone in that building. And I'm walking around the building, and it doesn't matter if I had a horrible drive-in because of the snow in the morning. I'm walking, hi, how are you? How's it going? I hope good to see you. I think it's so important to set that positive tone. Persistence. We gotta keep on doing this stuff, figuring things out together, being consistent, sticking to discipline and structure and routine, and doing the hard things with empathy. So basically that's it. That's all I got. Last but not least, by the way.
Well, thank you to all of our educators for committing to a intensive and strenuous program. And you can tell by what they all had to say that they have really worked hard. They have been dedicated, and what they've shared as the output is just more than I could even hope for. So thank you, and we want to thank each of you with a certificate that you will take with you, as well as a permanent reminder of your commitment to this program, which is a piece of artwork that they will be able to hang on their walls, in their offices, or in their classrooms. And Paul is holding it up. This was developed by a... I'll move forward, here we go. Developed by a St. Norbert College art student. Took our Micah 6:8, Act Justly, Love Tenderly, Walk Humbly with Your God, and turned it into a beautiful piece of art. And so I am going to invite Kim Desitel, President of Grace, and Tom Kiley, the President of Notre Dame Academy, to come on up, and we are going to then award each of our participants with a certificate. And if you'd like to say a word first, I'm going to give you that opportunity.
Don't want to turn that down. Thank you so much. It's great to be here. How rewarding is this? I mean, really, just to sit and listen to the pure joy that's occurring and has happened. I think there's a couple hallmarks that we want to point out. Number one, what you've done, what we're doing, what we're mounting, what we're leading is really groundbreaking. To think about focusing on leadership, but taking that to the front line where we focus on teacher leadership and the impact that that can have in education. And then let's ratchet it up even further with higher quality and have that focused on a faith leadership approach. Absolutely beautiful. So thank you for sharing your story today. I think the timing of sharing it today is incredibly important, because as we know in our schools, it is Teacher Appreciation Week, right? So well planned, well executed. Timing is everything, Mary. Wednesday is National Teacher Appreciation Day, but in our schools, of course, we celebrate and stretch that out Monday to Friday to get every bit of mileage we can out of that. So what a great chance to really celebrate each other, celebrate one another, the fact that you're coming together from different places, get you out of those buildings and leaning on each other. And I guess my advice to you would be to continue to celebrate what you're doing and how you're doing it. So, Tom.
Thank you, Kim. Well, it's good to see you all, and congratulations, because it's been a long journey all year since we met last August and the month by month. But to just underline some of what Kim also said, was very much built off what Gina and Greg and Andrea said. When we at Notre Dame took a new tack on our sort of tagline. It says, prepares leaders for college and life. It really started the conversation that they have grown into a program about that. Where do you recognize where you have to be a leader in some way, whether you are a parent, whether you are a friend, whether you're a professional, and all the other areas of your life. And that's something that I found that CatholicLink has really nourished in people. And I want to say thank you to Mary, who really has fine-tuned this program in the time that she and I have known each other almost 5 years now. I guess we started talking about this. And this, the wonderful attention to detail that she has and the continual way to gather people in. The other thanks I would like to say is to Paul Schneider, who has been a tremendous advocate and a supporter of Catholic education. And of course, then also, Father Brad is the person here, but the Norbertines, who have hosted this organization second year in a row, I guess? Yes, for the second year. So congratulations, to share with you, gratitude for all you have done. And now, the awards, Mary.
Thank you. And so Kim and Tom, if you would please stand just to the right of this, be on the screen, that would be great. And we started with a couple of appreciations, but I want to also thank other members of our team who are here. And one of those is Laura Bleschars. Laura is a critical member of our team. She is a curriculum coordinator for Grace, but is also the master behind all of the beautiful materials that you see. And so Laura has been a really important part of our program. Tom mentioned Paul Schneider, who has become involved and helps design and facilitate our sessions. Jamie Danon, who's not able to be with us, you heard her mentioned a few times, she's made a significant impact on our educators. Father Luke Ferris has walked with us spiritually from day one through today. Thank you very much for that, Father Luke. And now let's say thank you to our educators. So if all the educators